Well, hello there, good looking. Welcome to Winning the Lottery, Chris. Episode 12.
We've made it. Episode 12. And Tony, I think this week's episode is a hot topic, so to speak, because we were flooded with DMs and emails after last week's episode where we broached the tricky topic of the first date.
Yeah, I mean, when you mention first dates, I kind of feel for the people that are kind of single at the moment, you know. It's tough out there. And I remember when I was dating about, there's various different apps you can jump on, you know, various different kind of...
Grindr.
Yeah, I mean, that was on a different type of list, I guess. I don't know, will you call them dates?
I don't know. Email us in.
Yeah. I don't know, would you call beating off Grindr a date? I mean, yeah, it is technically a date.
It's a date of sorts. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm kind of referring to in general is that, you know, if you're single, one of the most common ways that people kind of meet for dates is using the apps. And I guess it is a bit of a lottery, really, of whether you actually meet your life partner or not, or you get on with people. I don't know what your experience is.
I think it's difficult with the apps as well because, as you say, it's a bit of a lottery. There's a lot of people there. You've got to go through that process of chatting on there, then you meet somebody, and you only have one opportunity to get to know them.
Yeah.
And there are so many different things that you would assess a potential partner on. And I'm not sure that one date is enough. You know, I think it's better if things can grow organically and you get to know somebody first. It's just my opinion, Tony.
I don't know, do you do much talking, like, to begin with, because it's sort of straight to the action with Grindr, Chris?
Right. Yeah, I believe so.
I guess, you know, there is, you know, the element of social media in general.
Yeah.
That, I guess dating apps are like social media profiles that you're putting a lot on there, your best pictures and how you want to be portrayed, your interests. And even, I guess, some of the videos I've seen about how actually guys try to engage, I guess, girls online is that, let's be honest, women are kind of, especially very attractive women, are inundated with various messages. So the guys or girls, you know, whatever, the person that's interested in this potential partner, they have to find quite creative ways to actually get their attention. And some are very, you know, very creative in how they go about doing it. Whether they create a little song about their name, which I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw this video of this guy. He managed to, it might be creepy, track down their Instagram. They actually downloaded a video of one of their kind of reels, and then did basically a song of their name over that video.
Oh my god! No, that's creepy.
Is that creepy? So she found it quite endearing.
Maybe she had shared her Instagram on her profile.
Yeah. And then
so it was available.
But you know what's so funny? I think he pronounced her name wrong.
Oh, right.
And then she said, "That's not how you pronounce my name. It's this." And then he redid the video by pronouncing her name like properly. That was quite hilarious.
That is brilliant. And people meet. You know, you say social media. Some people have met and married on Twitter or you know, even Facebook groups and stuff like that.
Even like Xbox Live or something. Gaming.
Xbox Live, really?
Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch, all that
Discord.
stuff.
So, oh my goodness.
It's where your interests are. You know, they want partners that have a shared interest that, you know, they can kind of share that passion, and it just seems to make sense. So I think, you know, dating apps, you know, we're saying that it's good and
there's pros and
bad. I don't want to say it's bad, but it can be challenging for certain people. You know, I think a lot of, you know, to go into the realms of talking about incels or like, you know, some of the single men that may be struggling, is that dating apps has almost changed the game in terms of the dating pool. And what I mean by that is that you may have very attractive people on there who may be dabbling in kind of relationships or very casual relationships with people that may not be in their same category of attractiveness, because it just seems like easy fish, right? And
so you're saying a 10 might dabble down to a 6? No, not that we would put numbers against anybody, but that's kind of...
Yeah, but essentially what you just said, Chris, is that there's this thing on social media where they kind of rate attractiveness out of a scale of 10, 10 being like super attractive, and you do have a case of men who are maybe 10s, can easily get 5, 6, and 7s. But what is the implication of that? Is that they're taking away the more average-looking guys who can't get 10s, who would match with the equivalent of their 5, 6, 7s. They don't have access to these women that are 5, 6, and 7s. And now these women that are 5, 6, 7s feel they can attain the 10s.
Right, so they're not interested in the...
Yeah.
Okay.
And therefore you get this kind of...
Right, and what's happening to the women who are 10s? Nothing.
No, I mean, they probably eventually do match with
another 10, okay.
Or, I mean, there's no shortage of guys probably queuing up. Or when it comes down to, I'm not going to be honest, being like, that's why we're trying to win. That's why people try to win the lottery, right? Come out
Give it away there.
I don't know.
But because we were having this conversation with a friend of ours, weren't we? Where apparently the dating app with the best hit rate now is Hinge, which is a new one. I've never used that before, but apparently you just have to add every last detail about yourself into this app. And that's the reason why it's more successful, because it's like you said, you're finding a shared interest. You've given every last piece of information about yourself. And that's quite interesting, isn't it?
I think Hinge is probably is less superficial based on look. It's more based on like, do you see a future with this person?
Height, weight, blood type. What time do you go to bed? Do you want kids?
Your bank account.
Your bank account details.
How much you've got in your pension.
What train do you take home?
Yeah.
But at what time exactly? Where do you live? All these kind of things.
I mean, just to touch on like last week's episode, we talked about our great idea. I don't know if I should repeat it.
Oh,
Chris.
yeah, go on, because there'll be investors listening.
Yeah. It's about the idea of budget, like putting a budget down, because it's the idea of, I guess we'll go into topic of the week later about paying on the first date, who should pay, how would you go about kind of divvying up that kind of bill at the end of the night. And dating, you can't get away with first dates, and then it's the idea of there's some element of money involved there.
There always is, and that's why we did have this idea on the previous week's episode where, okay, you're on a dating app.
Yeah.
Let's take the hassle out of the whole thing. You both pick what's the experience you'd like to do. You can pre-book it on the app, and you can prepay. And you guys can decide between you in your chat box, okay, is the bloke going to pay? Maybe even the lady wants to pay, or are we going to split it down the middle? Or the guy says, look, I'm going to put 51% down.
Yeah.
Just for example.
You're taking the awkward...
Such a good idea, Tony.
You're taking the awkwardness out on the first date when you're there. Maybe it might be slightly awkward to begin with, but it's almost like, let's put all our cards on the table here.
Yeah.
What's going... let's not kind of... Imagine this. You're having a great day, and then when it comes to the bill, you're kind of like... It goes sour at the end.
Sweaty hands. And this would root out time wasters as well, because if you've already paid for the date, especially if you've gone Dutch, you split it, you're not going to turn up, are you? Yeah. And then you can have other features on this. When you finish the date, you quickly get onto the app. How good was this? Rate it out of 10. Would you want to see them again? If you say it was a bad date, you don't want to see them again, it quickly matches you up with someone else who said the same in the vicinity. There's optional extras. You can book a travel lodge if it went really well. There's so much, honestly.
This is...
Didn't go well, strip club. There's one just 2 blocks away.
Discount.
Yeah.
I guess we could really delve into this and the topic of the week, but
we could.
I just want to mention, before we move on to kind of like this week's lottery draw, is that do we even need to spend money on a first date?
This is such a good point.
How would it go down if you said, can we just meet in the park and there's like a free water fountain, or I bring a thermos of coffee.
I like this, yeah.
And we just have a coffee there. So, why does money need to be kind of?
So you've brought a thermos. You've probably brought 2 of those keep cups.
Yeah.
You've actually gone to some expense at the beginning because you've boiled the kettle at home.
Use up my electricity.
You've put the Nescafe instant coffee in there, or Lidl, or whichever one you use.
Yeah.
So you've gone to some extent. I guess the counter argument might be, if this is how cheap you are on the first date, is that setting a precedent for what it's going to be like down the line? On birthdays, anniversaries. They say, I want to go Michelin-star dining. What are you going to come up with?
I'm just saying that, saving the planet doesn't end on one date. It's a continual kind of lifetime commitment. So it could be a birthday. You could be date 5 and it's the girl's birthday.
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong with opening a packed lunch full of sandwiches that you made at home?
Corned beef, spam.
Yeah, I mean that is again, you're not spending money in the Tesco's, whatever.
Yeah.
You're not using up packaging and you're not littering.
Yeah.
If you are inclined to do that, because the park bin might be full or whatever. But we'll delve into that in kind of topic of the week.
I think you've got a good point there, Tony. White bread, a little bit of corned beef or spam, maybe a splash of HP sauce on the top.
And you can't say that's a bad lunch.
Would you get them some McCoy's crisps as well to throw in?
Well, it depends. Well, this is
more packaging.
It's more packaging, and it really depends on how much you like, how well the first date went.
Yeah,
the desserts on McCoy's.
Yeah, you're right.
Cool. I guess if we move on to last Saturday's lotto result, so the jackpot amount was measly 3.8 million. So you'll still be a millionaire with that. What were the winning numbers? So it was 5, 9, 31, 34, 46, 48, and the bonus ball was 49. Machine name Arthur and ball set 6. So what were my numbers again? So my numbers were 5, 11, 12, 31, 32, 35.
Hey, Tony, we got a couple of matches in there. Is that lucky dip?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we matched 2 numbers, so it was the 5 and the 31. So I'm in it again. Lucky dip for this Wednesday.
31 is the number of the house I grew up in, so that's one that I would often put down if it was just a standard one.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
There you go. So you're back in the draw for Wednesday. Is it? Yeah, it's not a rollover. We're back down to 3.8 million. So
yeah, I believe it's going to roll over.
Oh, it is going to roll over.
Yeah, I think that was.
Oh my god! Even at that measly amount.
Yeah, 3.8 million. But yeah, we'll see Wednesday, and if not Wednesday, it'll roll over to Saturday.
All right.
But I believe we had an email in, Chris.
Well, Tony, we've had loads of emails. We've had DMs. You can get in touch on Instagram, on TikTok. You can even shoot us a message on YouTube. And we've had loads about the topic of the week, dating. So we'll get to those shortly. But we had one from Zillard who emailed in. And Zillard said, "Hey, guys, best lottery podcast out there." Can you believe he said that, Tony?
I don't believe him.
I don't believe him either. There's a really good official lottery podcast, isn't there? So, but yeah, so Zillard's actually referring back to the episode we did a few weeks ago about would you quit your job if you won the lottery?
Oh, that was a good one, wasn't it?
It was a very good one. And Zillard says, "I would definitely quit my job if I won the lottery. Someone just started at my office," and this is on theme as well, and we touched on this last week, "who I went on 3 Bumble dates with a few years ago. It's awkward in the office," he says. So he hasn't told us exactly what we're going to get back to you, Zillard. What is the reason why it's so awkward? Was it just 3 and nothing happened, someone ghosted the other person, or could be sexual tension? I don't know.
I'm hoping it's sexual tension.
I hope so.
It sounds like maybe she probably called it quits.
Yeah, and he's a bit awkward.
But the thing is, she just started the office. Didn't say if. Okay, he's not her manager, right? Because then that's
that was somebody a few weeks ago emailed in with that dilemma.
Again, I just want to kind of maybe talk about the HR kind of policies about managers.
Just reiterate those, Tony.
Yeah, there's probably don't want to go down that route if you want to keep your job.
Just keep everything above board, Zillard. I mean, you've got to let us know. Did you ghost her? I think she probably ghosted him by the sounds of it.
I would probably send an email, just introducing yourself.
To all staff.
Just go, look, but just break the ice again there and then. So you I know it's awkward. But let's try and move on professionally. And
she'll be
by the way, why did you not reply to my text?
And she'll be like, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
What I would probably do in your situation, Zillard, is I'd just send out an email to all staff. And I'd just say, hey, guys, you do, what is it called? The STAR method, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Or is it situation? Just setting the context.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you just say, look, everybody, I want to get all the cards on the table. Me and this lady, we dated for a while, a few years ago.
Yeah.
This happened. Let them know exactly what kind of intimacy you got to. And this is the current situation. Here are the risks. Here are my mitigations. And this is how we're going to get through it.
I think that's a great idea, Chris. Like, everyone in the office, make sure you kind of have that kind of the distribution list as everyone, and then CC your manager and HR
and the lady,
and say that we did engage in sexual relations, just to make everyone clear. Just to make it clear.
What, in the subject line?
Yeah. No, in the content. So he goes, we did use protection, but you just want to state that this happened, and you're being transparent.
Yeah,
and hopefully we can move forward amicably with this, because you don't want a situation. Imagine this: that you meet this lady and then you suddenly talking to a colleague, and then somehow she gets involved. Oh, have you met her? She just joined the office. Goes, actually, we have met, or do you pretend that you haven't met before? That's the whole thing. If you send the email,
so awkward.
You take the the awkwardness is that it's gone, and it's professional.
Yeah,
you've shown that you're honest.
Yeah,
and you're transparent, and that you took precautions.
And that you own the agenda.
And your manager and HR, I think they can only praise you for that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. So Zillard, I think that's probably your next step there.
But, Zillard, do what you think is best. And who knows, this might actually lead on to kind of a long-term relationship.
I hope so. She'll get to know the real Zillard, especially when he sends out that email.
And if you do get married, me, you, Chris, send us an invite.
Please do. Yeah.
Cool. So, there's some other points I wanted to share based on, I guess the 3.8 million is kind of a conservative amount.
It's an underwhelming figure, but as you say, we've said this before on the podcast, it is enough to turn you into a millionaire and give you a very comfortable lifestyle.
And that's what we after. We're after financial freedom, and 3.8 million could probably solve the majority of our problems. But we just want to give our listeners, the whole picture that we've said before, that the lottery doesn't solve your problems and may create even more problems. And there's two examples.
Yeah. That it's just different sides of the story. Remember, there was that fake statistic that we debunked, where it was saying, 70% of lottery winners go broke and get miserable. No, that's not true.
Okay.
But there's people at all different ends of the spectrum. So I think these are some of the losers who've... And you could say they've brought it onto themselves, but I'll let you read them out.
Yeah, so just to begin with the first example is that they may be making a mountain out of a molehill on this one. So this person has lotto regret. They won 105 million.
Oh, that sounds awful.
That's just a problem, isn't there? That's a major problem.
Yeah.
And they say it's easy when you've got the money to say, I wish I never won and had a normal life. And you're gonna love this based on the builder chat we had in the past couple of pods. Is that what he really regrets or what he misses is the building site banter. It's just not the same now. You've got 105 million. But
Tony, he could create his own building construction firm and get all the banter in that.
That's what, build another house and then you just have a chat with the builders.
Because it's one of those things, you can work in a workplace where you get on really well and you have a lot of banter, and I've had it before where people leave and then they sort of come back for socials and stuff, and it's never quite the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But that's why it's important to create a bit of a network and have, that network staying together.
Yeah.
But here's the idea: if you've won the lottery, just create your own bloody firm. If he misses building site banter, if he owns the company, he can come and go whenever the hell he wants.
But does that...
Different power dynamic, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. When you're the boss, it's just not the same, because you're probably bitching about the boss and this and that, but when you're the boss,
Oh, yeah, he turns up every so often and they all go quiet.
The banter just... Imagine this, you've missed the banter, you turn up and you start having, what's going on? And it goes dead quiet. Oh, the boss is here. Oh, yeah. It'll be all kind of like really kind of vanilla, jovial crap.
Tony, so his life's changed forever, because even if he scooped, what was it, £105 million jackpot, are you going to be motivated to do a hard day's graft? Even if you want to go back for the banter, you probably just can't be bothered to get up at 6 a.m. or whatever.
Depends how much he misses it. I mean, here's a suggestion. Why doesn't he move to a different part of the UK? Be somewhere like completely different. Nobody knows who he is. Just be a
cover
story, contractor, couple of days on the building site, get that banter back. And once he's fed up, just move on to the next place.
Contractor where he's just there, as you say, 2 days a week. He rolls up. You can go with them for their lunch down to Tesco where they have their meal deal.
Play the cover story, and when he's getting his pepperami and rustlers, get another lottery ticket. Oh, he's won it. Go, oh yeah, lads, yeah. Hopefully I win. But he's obviously kind of smiling inside. Yeah, I've already won, guys.
Yeah, that'd be even better.
But yeah, that's the first example. And I guess the second example is this person scooped 148 million, and they've used a more dramatic word where it said, "It ruined my life, Chris." And this goes back to cover story again about, who would you tell? Who should you tell? Is that they gave family 20 million, and how did their family thank them? They stopped talking to them.
So they basically took the 20 million and were like, well, thank you very much. I've got you out of my life. I'm now a millionaire. Bye-bye.
To be honest, some people might actually would wish to pay off some family members not to talk to them. Money well spent. But apparently with this person, she, her dad tried to take control of the money and repeatedly tried to claim a stake in her business. So it seemed like her dad, maybe got a bit of a power trip. Goes, look, I'm your dad. I don't care if you want 148 million, you gave me 20 million. I want to take control of this.
I made you who you are.
Yeah. So, in hindsight, maybe if she never told her family members, she would have avoided this problem. Maybe if she played a cover story and then maybe
she could have got her family to sign an NDA we talked about, but that wouldn't have made much odds. They'd sign the NDA and then keep quiet and never speak to her again. Basically, she should have built a better relationship with her family in the first place. It may not have been her fault. Sounds like there's something toxic going on in that family, Tony, which a lottery, maybe the lottery win is by the by. They had deep-rooted problems.
You make a good point. Maybe the kind of the money exposed more of the problems that already kind of existed and kind of further kind of accentuated.
More money, more problems. That's what I've always said.
But all I would say, ending with that, is that I wish I had that problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's first world problem. That's even beyond. That's millionaire problem. Let's call it that.
That is a problem worth having, if you were to ask me. But cool. If we move on to our topic of the week, what is our topic of the week, Chris?
Topic of the week is, as we've mentioned, paying on the first date. So we just had so much interaction after bringing this up last week. I can't even remember the exact context. It was around International Men's Day and, should traditionally men would pay on a first date with a lady.
Gender roles, meant to provide, that type of thing is the expectation. If you go back to kind of, I guess, the past or chauvinism or whatever you want to call it, or the being a gentleman, you can even kind of frame it that way, that typically men would kind of court the lady and pay for the meal and the dinner, drive her home, pick her up in the car, that type of thing.
Open the door.
Is that outdated? This is what we wanted to explore.
This is what we wanted to explore, and we just had so many emails in. So we had one from Ting, who is from China near Tsingtao. The beer, Tsingtao? And Ting's saying, and she's kind of related it. Tony, we've got listeners all over the world here. So she related it to Chinese culture, and she said, listen, in Chinese culture, it is expected that the man would pay on the date. But actually, later on, in Chinese culture, once you get married and all the rest of it, actually the woman looks after the finances. So I thought that was quite interesting. But Ting says that since she moved to the UK, if she went on a first date, I thought this was interesting, she would split the bill on the first date only if she didn't like the person.
Okay. Interesting.
And she would let them pay if she fancies the person, so that she can then pay it back on the second date.
Oh.
So it would be like a way in. It would be like, okay, I'm going to pay for the next one. You get this, but I'm going to pay for the next one. Whereas, Tony, just to follow on from this, we had a lot of people saying exactly the opposite.
That's so interesting, that.
Which is that you would split the bill on the first date if you liked the person. So a couple of other people, we won't read out their names. A couple of other people came in and said they would split the bill if they liked the person, but they would let the bloke pay if they didn't like the person.
That's so interesting how, I guess, from a female perspective, it's a different interpretation of how they want to go about things. That the idea of, I can see the reasoning why you want to split, because you want to show, your potential partner that, you're not taking advantage of them, that, things are equal. And then, you can interpret another way where you go splitting because that's it. I'm never going to see you again. Yeah. Let's leave on amicably in that way, that it's I don't owe you anything. Whereas Ting said that, she's almost playing the long game and going, oh, actually, this is a good reason for us to meet again. Dinner's on me next time.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, this is the crazy thing. So I guess we're getting a little bit closer towards it. But there's no real definitive answer here yet, is there, Tony, of what should be the right move to do on that first date?
Yeah, you know what? What I'm seeing here is that there's no scenario in this where anyone said that the guy doesn't pay at all.
Yeah.
It's always either split.
Yeah.
Or let the guy pay fully. It's none of the first date. The girl pays for all of it. Why is that?
And think about it. We know there's the app Bumble.
Yeah.
Where actually women make the first move, women choose.
Yeah.
Should it be the case that in this context, let's say Bumble take us up on our business idea.
Yeah.
And they integrate experiences that you prepay for. Should women pay for that? I don't know. It's kind of an empowerment thing.
I mean, like I said before, I totally agree. It's like, why isn't there that feature? Given that, let's really take this seriously. If we're really trying to empower women and equality, Bumble, which is great about Bumble, right? If people who don't know Bumble, is that the girl gets to select.
Yeah.
She chooses they match. Like, the guy can't match with the girl. I mean, he could swipe on it, but it won't match until the girl says yes. So why are we stopping there?
And they make the first move.
Yeah, essentially, they got a message first.
They've got a message.
They can only message first.
And if they don't message, it expires. It's gone.
Yeah, that's it. So why don't we extend that and further empower women by going, look, I am a career-driven woman. I'm making my own cheddar, my own, skrilla, cash, out of my hard work, blood, sweat, tears, in my own brain. I travel, I go on the train every day or 2 days a week or whatever it is. I, earn this money and I want to choose my partner, but I also want to kind of so that I can pay my own way. And why isn't this a thing? I think we should kind of promote this.
But all I think is these apps have got to get in touch with us. Whether it be Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, we've got a fantastic business idea here.
Yeah.
Just this experience thing, and you could have a sliding scale. They can both say, you can see it's 0 to 100. They both say which proportion they want to pay. So the guy might say 60%, the woman might say 0, and then it goes in the middle, it's 30-70.
I think...
Do you see what I mean?
I like the idea of a slider thing, but I should say on Bumble, based on the thing that we were saying before that other women should pay, it should default to 100%. And then it's the woman has to make a conscious effort is to bring down the slider. Yeah. It's just the idea of, we need to kind of be progressive here. It's 2023. It's going to be 2024 soon. what is the next stage of really reaching true equality and empowerment?
Maybe it's stay-at-home dads more often.
Stay-at-home dads. I think it's we've got International Men's Day. What else could we have?
International Stay-at-Home Dads Day.
Yeah, International Stay-at-Home Dads Day, isn't it? But yeah, talking about dates. I mean, I don't know if I open up kind of like embarrassing situations from the past or like some kind of bad memories of dating. I know it's a kind of a varied bucket for myself, but I guess one of the interesting things now I'm in a relationship, and thank God I don't have to go through this whole kind of.
Goodness, you're not on Bumble anymore.
You know, Bumble, Hinge, whatever it is. Grindr I've still got on for the weekend. But yeah, one of the interesting things with my girlfriend, and she was some interesting insights, is that whenever she went on kind of first dates, she liked the idea of a coffee date because
it gives her the caffeine boost.
Yeah, you know, she loves coffee, but it's low commitment as well. So you can go. You're not spending, I don't know, like 40 quid on a steak or something like that. It's just
it's
casual
like 3
coffee,
or 4 quid.
Coffee, have a chat, and then
maybe go for a walk, or would they sit down in the crowded coffee shop? I'd rather go for a walk.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, you grab a coffee to go.
Take out, take away. Just go for a walk around the park.
Yeah, park.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
And you know, with coffee dates, it could go back to the idea that I was talking about earlier. Is that why does it have to be an expensive artisan espresso from like a bougie East End coffee shop? Why couldn't it be, you know, Nescafe from a thermos? It's
fraction of the price.
Fraction of the price. Again, we're talking about not using resources for cups and stuff like that. There's no potential for littering whatsoever, and we're environmentally conscious.
And you can put 4 scoops in if you want for extra caffeine.
Yeah, and depending on the size of the thermos, you know, you can actually go not 1 cup of coffee, you can have 3 or 4. Depending on how big your thermos is. So again, and you're not, you know, 4 coffees, how much would that cost? The cost of living.
Oh my God.
It's like,
I mean, it's 4 quid for an artisan coffee now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
20 quid.
So I'm with you on that. And I reckon caffeine is probably a good lubricant. Not in that way, you know, social lubricant.
Oh, right, yeah.
To get people talking a bit more. Obviously, alcohol's the other one, but, you know, alcohol, you might end up having 4, 5, you can't stop, you know, it goes crazy. Why not coffee then? I think it's a great idea. So is that when you went on your first date with your missus, was it to a coffee shop?
Yeah. And
was it a coffee shop, or did you bring the thermos?
It was actually a coffee shop, which I regret.
And which one was it? Was it sort of a fancy one?
It was kind of a fancy.
Was it her idea, or were you trying to impress her?
I think it just happened to be in the area. I think it was probably her idea, to be honest. Because one of the great things with making a swift exit, really, about if you didn't want a date to go on too long, is that you're almost setting an end time, going, look, I need this other commitment to go to at this time. I've almost got an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It's not awkward when you do go.
Yeah.
People don't think. Yeah, it's actually a really good idea. I think she's really smart with this, because it's like, right, look, we're going to go for a coffee at 11.
Yeah.
I've got to be at the Tate for 1, or whatever it might be, to meet my friends. Let's just meet up. Let's see how we go. If you want, you can walk with me down from Farringdon to the Tate. Whatever it is.
You know what her thing was? And I thought it might have been a bit of a lie, but it was true. She said that she needed to go to Cambridge to help her friend paint her house.
Oh my goodness.
And that was the real thing.
It was actually true.
Yeah, it was true. But I mean, you can't get out of that one. I mean, the Tate, you go like, why do you need to go to the Tate for?
Well, you just say, look, I've made this engagement. You should just be up front. Look, let's just get to know each other. And then, who knows, if it goes really well when you've had the coffee, you've walked towards the Tate, just say, oh, sod it. You know, let's go into the Tate bar. You know, they've got that bar in the Tate. Let's have an espresso martini now.
Yeah, I mean, you're going into the next bit I want to talk about, and this is something that me and my girlfriend talked about. She didn't really understand is that how do these first dates go on for hours? Some first dates go really well, and they go on for like 5+ hours. And is that a good or bad thing? Because it's a good thing is that you really enjoying each other's company. I think it's a good thing. But then there could be another thing when you're like, what else are you going to do talk about in the next couple of dates, right?
Okay, have you exhausted all options?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing if you're there for 5+ hours. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it just depends how well you get on with somebody. Yeah. The conversation can be flowing about anything if you really get on.
Do you think it's connected with alcohol a bit more? When the more after the first drink and then second, and then you loosen up and then...
Because if it's a coffee day, you know, you've gone early in the day, you've had your coffee, okay, you're buzzing.
Yeah.
Great. Give it a couple of hours, you've got your crash now. And you can't have too many coffees for me. If you've got beer, if you've gone to the pub...
Yeah.
Which was our other idea. Again, it's quite low commitment. Yeah. It's not that expensive. You just have more drinks. Conversation flows even more easily.
Or maybe too many coffees is a diuretic, so you might actually end up having to go to the toilet.
Yeah. This is another thing for our app idea, though. It's just so much, you know, it's like, there's just so many things we can do with this. Just before we were talking about the excuse, the get out, you quickly say, you tell the app, it's not going very well, quickly get me a quick experience nearby that I can pretend I'm going on. And they have to buy the Tate tickets for an exhibition.
What? So you got proof?
So you got proof on your phone, and it says for 2, and you pretend it's with your friend. They have to pay for 2, and then the other one with the diuretic thing, just locating a nearby toilet for them that they can use, and just charge them for that.
I'm just thinking if you've got like. Maybe you could put on your profile. You got IBS. Then you've definitely got to go. I've got IBS episode.
That's the best.
I need to go. So there we are. That's fine.
That is the best.
So you don't need to wait for me. I'm going to be a while.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it was just like
IBS.
Yeah, the long dates thing is. I mean, do you remember your first dates? Were they ever kind of 5 hours
I think
plus?
quite often you go on a date. Yeah, especially if it's with someone that you really get on with.
Yeah. And do you always pre-book the hotel room?
No. Normally I just do that last minute.
And who should pay for that, Chris?
Well, that's a really good point. You know, again, I think you've got to go Dutch. But it's fine. I've got so many Travelodge loyalty points that...
I suppose another thing with kind of like first dates is, you know, it can be a bit nerve-wracking for some and... Even the most
sweaty palms,
even the most simplest things is about, you know, your table manners. And I don't know, is that such a thing these days? I know you're very, very big into kind of etiquette and stuff like that, Chris.
I'm very much into etiquette, but this is the reason I'm saying a great idea. Coffee is one thing you just mentioned. Go to the pub. But I remember a date that I went on years ago where, and you know this restaurant, don't you, Tony, in Farringdon?
Yeah.
Quality Chop House.
I've never eaten there before.
And it's quite a fancy venue, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, it's got really good reviews for the meats and stuff there.
And I look back and I think, why on earth did I agree to go to the Quality Chop House for a first date? I just don't know why this happened. And you know Poussin? I'm going to call it Poussin. It's like the very small... Poussin. It's like the very small, or poutine, however you say it. It's like a very small chicken.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, it just tickled my fancy on the menu on this first date in the Quality Chop House. And I won't forget, it's really awkward to eat because it's really bony. You're trying to chop it and try and get all the meat out that you can. And that's just the thing you want to avoid. You don't want people judging your table manners on your first date.
Yeah, you don't want anything hard work, little bones and stuff like that.
No, so this is why. I think this is great advice for anyone listening. You know, step 1, win the lottery, because then you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
But if you haven't won the lottery, let's just go for these low commitment things. I think, great idea, coffee. Even better, the pub.
Yeah.
Even better still, let's go to Regent's Park, where they've got a free water fountain. I'm going to bring my thermos with me.
Yeah.
You know... And I've got 2 keep cups, and I can refill it. And hey, guess what? If it's going well, I've got a 6-pack of Fosters in my backpack as well.
With the Quality Chop House, who paid for that? Did you go splits? Or
Splits.
Okay.
Always splits. Because I never... I'll be honest, first date, you don't know the person.
Yeah.
You know, just split it. I'm not going to offer to pay out for all of it. It was expensive.
Yeah, I think
it was their idea.
Yeah, if it's their idea and they still expect you to pay fully for it, I think that's a bit much. But there is generally, you know, people have different opinions of these things, and there is the section of I guess in the kind of the female community where the expectation is the guy must always pay, and it's the same on the other side where men always like, oh, men should always pay as well. We're not saying that's wrong at all. We're just questioning.
Listen, Tony, we get a few dates down the line. I would say fair enough.
Yeah,
we've got to know each other.
Yeah,
and maybe it's quite right. It's the chivalrous thing to do. And pay it.
Yeah,
but on day one, you barely know each other yet. But yeah, I do think. Much better to do those lower commitments because then the man can go and offer to pay the first round.
Yeah.
See what happens. Maybe the lady would like to pay the second round. If not, okay, I'll get the next round.
Yeah.
If they say, oh, sorry, I've got to go. I've got to help my friend in Cambridge paint their house. That's fine. That's their exit strategy.
I think it's one of those things where it just feels like they're getting as much as they're putting in type of thing. I've actually had a conversation when I was back at uni. I think I had a couple of friends from Korea, and they said that when they went on first dates, they don't mind getting the lunch and the big dinners, but they quite like it if the girl would pay for the little coffee in between or dessert elsewhere, like a yogurt afterwards. So it creates that kind of balance of you both pitching in some regards. But that, I'm not sure if that was a first date they were referring to, but that could still work on a first date. If the guy did offer to go, I'll get this lunch, the whole whack. But then you go, oh, should we get a coffee for our walk? And then the girl will go, oh, I'll get this.
And this is what is such a good idea about our business plan, because it just takes all the stress and the hassle out. That can be another one. You can choose multiple experiences.
Yeah.
And the guy said, right, 100% on the first one.
Yeah.
And then the guy puts it to the other way, 0% for the second one.
Yeah,
or it can work the other way for the lady. I think it's such a good idea.
I think another great thing that I just thought of right now, Chris, is that a lot of the time people judge people on how they treat kind of servers or waiters or waitresses.
Yes.
So on a first date, if the girl sees the guy just barking orders at the waitress, berating, just being very difficult, they'll be like, oh, I'm not sure if this guy's right for me. So when it comes to the app, and you said about kind of moving the costs around, there should be a separate option for tips.
Bribe the waiter, you mean?
No. So you both get visibility. So at the end of the day, did the guy give his? Did he tip? If he didn't, then you go, oh, I'm not sure.
So the lady will actually get full visibility if the guy has tipped 30% or something.
Yeah, how much did the guy tip?
But Tony, I love that one, but I am thinking the bribery thing could be good. So you basically pay off the waiter, and this bit isn't visible to anyone in the app, and then, or the waitress, whoever it is, and then they have a bit of banter with you, and they make you look really good.
Oh, yeah, that's best wingman ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be quite good. But that comes at a premium with the app.
Yeah, it comes with premium on our app.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be paying telephone numbers for that. I just think we're on to a winner with this. If there are any investors out there, just DM us, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's easy to do. Find us, win me the lottery on any of those platforms.
Yeah. And I guess, what I would say with kind of first dates is it's not easy, and it's a lot of navigating through it. But hey, if you are single, there's light at the end of the tunnel, I believe. There's someone for everyone, I would say. But yeah, I guess there's always, you want to go in with a mentality of being generous, I would say.
You'd have to be an absolute loser if you couldn't find somebody out there.
Yeah.
And I know there are obviously incels around, hopefully none listening.
Yeah.
Listen, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
And I would say, if you're playing lottery, would this even be an issue? Say if you won the lottery, is this debate redundant, or is it all about the principle? That you could pay for it, but it's the principle of having this equality type thing.
Some people might want to show off.
Yeah.
If they won the lottery, it's like, okay, just splash the cash.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is about the principle. And I just want to say, if you are single and listening to this, there are other options as well. Nowadays, with AI, for example, you can get an AI girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah.
All sorts of different things. You could date a ghost if you believe in that kind of stuff. We talked about Bigfoot on the show the other week.
You can marry yourself.
You can marry yourself.
Yeah, I think the lady had a marriage which she married herself.
All right. I thought you'd done that. I know you've consummated your marriage with yourself, but
Oh, well, no comment, Chris.
no comment.
But I would say that, if money is tight, cost of living like that, I would still say it's, based on our suggestion, it might be worth investing in a good thermos for future dates. So you don't need to spend loads of money on coffee and pussins and steaks from Quality Chop House. Get yourself a good thermos, find a nice park, and you can have plenty of dates there, I would say.
Absolutely.
For a fraction of the price.
Absolutely, Tony.
Cool. I guess if we move on to picking next week's numbers for segment 3.
Tony, because we just got to get on this now.
Yeah,
Because you know why? So that we can get a windfall in, so that we can do this app.
Oh, really?
Seriously,
Really?
because we need a bit of money behind us to do that. So, what numbers have been staring you in the face and sort of manifesting your way towards the jackpot?
Well, something that has really been caught my eye, really caught my eye, to the degree that it's almost feels like it's in my eyes, is the number 5.
Right.
Yeah, so this story is about 5 women who got eye syphilis. I didn't even know you could get syphilis in the eyes. But they all got it from the same man, which is raising questions or raising eyebrows.
Wow, literally. Closing eyelids, probably.
So how freaky is this? So 5 women got syphilis. I mean, that sounds grim. Syphilis of the eye from the same man. I mean, the first question I had, Chris, is how does one get syphilis in the eye?
That's a really good question.
Where do you think?
Some sort of fluid has obviously spread and got into their... Well, possibly. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, what else could it be? Stuff of man fluid must have got it.
Yeah.
This guy has been very active. I mean, it didn't say if he was on any dating apps. But all it says is that, it affects the eyes and central nervous system. So this thing can be quite serious if it's not left untreated.
Wow, it can lead to blindness, deafness.
Yeah, so I guess if we connect back to our topic of the week about, essentially dating, it's like you've got to be careful.
Be safe.
Safety is, and we keep saying it week after week, is that safety is paramount. So if you are engaging in consenting activity with another adult, if things aren't going in a way that you're comfortable with, say something, and, if it's very last minute, just close your eyes, I would say. That's all I can say. That's all I can say on that. But
this is another reason I think our app is such a good idea, because, it can keep you safe. What we'll do is we'll say, look, never ever trust to just go home with somebody.
Yeah.
We will get you a safe, regulated travel lodge room.
Yeah.
We could even get somebody in the room, like a chaperone type of thing, like they used to have in the old days, who just make sure everything's above board.
That's premium, though. That's got to be on
That's
the premium.
Premium. Yeah. That's premium, but it comes with our top tier subscription.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a first for early adopters. We'll get access to it.
Goggles.
I was thinking that
protect your eyes.
With all the data that we're having on this app, why don't you put sexual, not sexual activity, but sexual health details?
Yeah.
When was the last
STIs?
Yeah, STIs. When was the last check you had? And maybe you might even want to share that information of your kind of
number of sexual
health
partners, sexual health. Yeah, I think we just, as we said about this idea that Hinge is more successful, we need more data for our app.
Yeah.
So people should really tell us everything, I would say.
I would say that definitely if this guy was on our app, it would definitely flag up that, it will send a flag and he wouldn't pass our kind of strict kind of
what would have happened on our
process
app is he would have been allowed
onboarding.
to book the experiences, they get to know each other.
Yeah.
And then it would have popped up right at the end of that experience to tell the lady or whoever it was, danger. This man is known to be a super spreader of eye syphilis. The waiter is bringing you some goggles right now. You can do whatever you want. It's an extra 20 quid. If you take the goggles, you will be safe. That's.
I think this is a great idea.
It's brilliant.
This story wouldn't happen again on our app for sure. So yeah, that was number 5 because 5 women got eye syphilis.
Man milk in the eyes.
Yeah.
Right, so I've got one. So the number that was that was staring at me, and this is actually, I shouldn't laugh now because this is shocking. This is shocking, and I've actually learned some Korean. They've opened a Korean restaurant near where I live called, I don't want to say it wrong, Gombe.
Oh, right.
Something like that. It's like cheers in Korean. And great foods. Yeah. There's so many things to love about Korea. K-pop. Great food, Korean K-drama, Korean fried chicken, and I'm glad that you mentioned the dramas because there's this lady Jung Yoo-jung who's 23, and I'm afraid to say she's been given a life sentence because she's told police that she murdered a stranger out of curiosity, fixated with the idea of trying out a murder. She used an app. Believe it or not, she used an app to meet an English language teacher and stabbed the English language teacher to death at her home.
Wow.
So it wasn't a dating app, but this was an app where you find a tutor. So actually, this lady, the killer, posed as, I think initially on the app, as the mother, saying she wanted her daughter to be tutored. And then she actually turned up at the house of the tutor dressed as a school kid in school uniform. And
you sure this isn't a dating app?
It says tutor.
Wow.
Tutor app. Yeah, and after the teacher let her in, she attacked the woman and stabbed her more than 100 times, even continuing the frenzied attack after the victim had died.
That is...
She dismembered
shocking.
the woman's body, Tony, took a taxi ride and dumped some of the remains in remote Parkland. The taxi driver actually tipped off police, saying that she dumped a blood-soaked suitcase in the woods. So this is all really weird. But what came out through her browsing history, she loved these kind of true crime shows and novels and scored very highly on psychopath tests because, this is that thing about how stupid can you be to actually take this blood-soaked suitcase into a taxi and then use the taxi to dump it. And I guess it's that psychopath thing of...
out of curiosity. So she gets killed tomorrow. I wonder what it would be like just to kill someone.
And she's possibly not in control of her own actions at that set. I don't know.
Maybe she's very impressionable because, don't get me wrong, Netflix, there's so many of these true crime... documentaries, shows that you can't get away from it, and then it kind of does influence you a lot when you go, oh God, I want to watch more. And are you still going? They
can be addictive. Yeah, those true. There's some of them that are really good, and I particularly like it's a bit of a mystery all the way through, and you've got the internet sleuths getting involved, and they never really know.
It's chilling though. This one. I think the best ones are the most chilling though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying the
no. Just say the most interesting ones. But yeah, the crime carefully planned and carried out. So the court has actually, I think, recommended
mental and physical. This is the problem. We trust our law system, our criminal justice system.
But you don't trust the Korean one.
I'm just saying, I'm not too familiar with the Korean one, but it really does annoy me when someone's murdered someone and they get away with it by being mental.
Yeah.
And they don't spend time on death row or behind bars for life. They go to a mental institution. I reckon you can fake that quite. I don't know. But that is shocking. What's the number on that, Chris?
So the shocking number on that one, Tony, was 23 because this lady was just 23. And let me tell you, she looks really young in the pictures. And so you can believe that she could have dressed up as a school kid and then bludgeoned her tutor to death. It really is horrendous. But I would say she used this tutor app to identify it. This wouldn't happen on our app.
No, if you meet up for coffee in the public or in the park with
exactly,
staff,
all in public. And as I say, it would have already gone through all of her browsing history. She'd been browsing about how to kill people.
Yeah.
Our app would have gone right through that. And fair enough, we would have still matched this lady with a potential suitor or tutor.
Yeah.
But it would have come up maybe 10 minutes into the date. How's this date going? Just to let you know, this person may be planning to murder you. But, you know, it's fine because they'd have paid for the date, so we'd have still got the money from it. The warning there.
They didn't lose their life and they didn't lose all their money on the
and suddenly the police appear.
Yeah.
And the police appear, and the police have actually paid our app as well for the information. And there's an extra additional fee for the late.
I was thinking, you talk about browsing history. You can have an integration with Netflix, so you can actually see what the last, say, 10 shows they've watched. So if they 10 in a row all crime dramas or crime documentaries, and that's a flag.
Flag them.
There you go. This person you're going on a date with has watched in a row 10 true crime documentaries.
And because we know where they're going on the date because of the experience, we can actually geo-track them, and then it's just maybe we just send this little flag when they're about 5 minutes away, and we just say, flag, alert.
Yeah.
Look, by the way, be wary, this person could be a killer.
And it's got metal detection as well. Your metal, if they got a knife on them or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, 23. It's so young, but yet
so insane. Yeah, killer age 23.
That's prime dating age as well, isn't it? You've got to be careful.
Yeah, but she was a loner who lived with her granddad.
Oh, right, okay.
So I don't know if she's
nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, but
no.
If it is, if you're a killer.
Yeah.
I'm going to one-up you on the next one, Chris, with the number 24.
Oh, right.
So this 24 came from 24 parking fines. But what's interesting about this is a man was issued with 24 parking fines in 3 weeks. That's pretty excessive, isn't it?
That's 8 per week.
Yeah, that's... I've never heard anyone getting that many tickets. And
what happened?
So apparently, the car wasn't even moving when he got the ticket. So it was essentially parked there, and he left his car outside his East London home. And basically, Tony Hawkins from Barking said he did not realise that his parking permit had expired before he went to Manchester at the end of August. So he went to Manchester, didn't realise his parking permit has expired. And I guess the traffic warden just thought, every time I see it, I'm just going to give another...
One's not sufficient.
Yeah.
I'm just
Make sure he gets the message.
Just keep piling it up. Tony, I'm just a bit confused. You said Tony Hawkins. I thought his normal method of transport was skateboard. Yeah.
Yeah, this is... I think this is another Tony Hawkins. Actually, that's Tony Hawks.
Not Tony Hawks, yeah.
Tony Hawks, okay. But yeah, I think the kind of the moral of the story here is that make sure you check your parking permits before you go on holiday somewhere.
I just think our app would have sorted that out because it would have just given him an alert.
Yeah, it just says, when you're dating, you could put in last time you had an MOT, last time you renewed your parking permit, and you actually showed to your potential partner that you can drive and that you've got a safe car. That, if you wanted to pick them up on a date.
Just need attention to detail. Tony!
So, yeah, that's just a bit of a...
Cautionary tale. Another cautionary tale.
But it's almost just a lighter note compared to someone being murdered for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got another lighter note, but some people find this offensive, Tony, because the next number that I encountered this week was the number 21. And I'll explain why in a moment. But this is about, and I'm sure many of our listeners have already heard this story. Cliff Richard. Legend. He went on this morning. And by the way, Christmas is coming up. Great Christmas song, Cliff Richard, Mistletoe and Wine.
Summer Holiday. I like Chris.
Summer Holiday was great.
Holiday.
He's got one for every season. But it's always great. I remember getting a colleague to go up and ask the DJ at a Christmas party for Cliff Richard's Mistletoe Wine, and he refused to play it. But so Cliff Richard went on this morning, I think last week.
Yeah.
Alison Hammond and I think
Alison
Dermot
Hammond.
O'Leary and someone else were on there. And Dermot O'Leary does the lottery ads, just to bring it back.
Okay.
So
He's everywhere, isn't he?
he's everywhere. So they were talking about Elvis, and Cliff Richard said he had the opportunity to meet Elvis, but he refused to do so because he noticed that Elvis had been putting on a lot of weight.
Oh.
And if he wanted to hang up a photo on his fridge of him and Elvis, he wanted Elvis to be in good shape.
Ooh.
And this was pretty shocking. Because obviously Alison Hammond was on there, and Alison Hammond basically shut down Cliff Richard. And I thought it was quite funny. Her response was something along the lines of, now I know why you've never invited me to your house.
She owned it. I think that was a great reply to that comment. So he's doesn't like fat people.
It sounds like he was fat shaming a bit. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions, and I have heard recently you've got these miracle anti-fat treatments coming out.
Yes.
Where you just inject yourself. So but anyway, Cliff Richard. I just couldn't believe he said that, and I thought that was awful. But probably the worst thing that he said. I'm going to try and find the quote. So here's what he said. He had a chance to meet Elvis, and he said, "Can we put it off? Because he'd put on a lot of weight." And I thought, if I'm taking a photograph with him and it's going to be hanging on my refrigerator, he's got to look good. And then he said, obviously he then died.
That was his last chance.
And that was his last chance, is what Cliff was saying. Well, hang on a minute, Cliff. We've pretty much established on this podcast, Elvis ain't dead. And Scouting for Girls did that. Do you remember that back in the day?
That band,
Scouting for Girls, they did a song, Elvis Isn't Dead. So I just thought that was completely wrong. But what do you think about it in general? I mean, obviously you've got this area now around fat shaming. And it's a complex area because, I think it's Cancer Research who ran a campaign a while ago, which was quite controversial, of what do you think is the number 2 biggest cause of cancer in terms of correlation?
It's probably obesity.
Obesity.
Yeah.
And so, it's different to this.
Yeah.
But it's a complex debate, Tony.
I don't know. Cliff Richard, love Summer Holiday. I still think about, when I think about Wimbledon, I still think about his little, he did his part when it was raining. And what was he saying? Congratulations.
Yes.
And he got everyone, through the rain.
Got the crowd up.
He looks a bit worse for wear. He's getting on a bit, and he looks like he's on the other side of the spectrum. He looks super skinny.
This is exactly what I thought when I watched it. He looks so frail. So maybe he could take a leaf out of Elvis's bit, or maybe he's been taking the miracle anti-obesity injections.
I think it's all about moderation, right? I think, hey, maybe it's a publicity stunt. He's promoting his new book or something.
And wasn't he arrested at one point? So he went through a lot of stress, which he was cleared.
Do people like Cliff Richard? Maybe he had to say something controversial to get media attention. So I'm just going to think it's that. But
it's even worse, Tony, if that's what it was.
Well, yeah. I think it's more of a lower point for Cliff Richard to say that, I would say.
Tony, that's shallow. And Cliff Richard, okay, maybe we like you. We like Mistletoe Man. We like Summer Holiday. This is Elvis.
Yeah.
But the good news is he's still alive. I don't know how fat he is now.
Yeah.
But there might be a chance for Cliff to meet him.
Elvis is a bigger deal than Cliff Richard, right?
Yes. So it's Elvis we're talking about. Why do you think he had to fake his own death?
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, the reason I went with 21 is because I want to back up Elvis. He's had 21 number ones. Elvis has had 21 number ones, so I just thought...
Absolute legend.
Yeah.
I suppose my next one is kind of almost carrying on the topic about health and obesity.
Yeah.
And it's about one of my favourite restaurants.
Espresso?
Yeah, it was one of them. Coats. It's McDonald's.
Oh,
Yeah.
even worse than either of those two.
Arguably, I mean, it depends on how many beers you've had, or
Yeah.
I mean, McDonald's is always there when you need a McDonald's.
I wouldn't want to put it on our app because the margins are just going to be so low. It's just too cheap.
Okay. But hey, a coffee. Talking about coffee, McDonald's
Cheap
do cheap, good coffee.
I have had that once or twice in a motorway service station, for example, when you either pay £4 for a really rubbish Costa, or you can just get a black Americano from McDonald's for 70p or whatever it is. I just go for the McDonald's.
And there is actually a thing that I saw on social media that I want to try one of these days. Is someone bought a double espresso and a vanilla milkshake from McDonald's, mix the two together. And that's like...
Hey, not bad.
That's like some kind of coffee...
Starbucks.
Coffee frappuccino thing for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've got number 6.
Okay.
So the reason why I've got number 6 is that there's a McDonald's branch that is banning teenagers from coming into the restaurant after 6 p.m.
Oh, good. I might give it another try then.
So I think a lot of the McDonald's clientele... I mean,
thugs,
but it's anyone can go to McDonald's. But I think when you're a teenager, I remember being a teenager and going out with my mates and going to eat. I mean, what were the options? McDonald's, KFC, or Burger King? Really?
I'd always go KFC.
Yeah.
Always go KFC. Always. But yeah, what I would say is, I do remember when I was a teenager thinking to myself, because you always heard people moaning about teenagers.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I'm older, when I'm an adult, I'm never going to complain about teenagers. So I do take that back.
So, I mean, teenagers can be really mean, right? I mean,
I
was never that bad, but some of them are actually criminals.
Yeah, they can be.
So the reason why this McDonald's kind of banned teenagers, so this McDonald's in Fort William, which is in the Scottish Highlands, so it was an easy decision to do this. But they had to ensure safety of its staff, and I've got to get behind that.
Must have been a real problem then.
Yeah,
for these kids.
These kids were probably running riot. I mean, so far it just said McDonald's staff faced verbal abuse. Even though it's words, it can have a lot of effects on your mental health, and whether you feel safe coming into work. I mean, you're working at McDonald's, and you've got to do your job.
No.
Not easy job. Lots of customers coming through, and then you don't want to have the extra aggro of unruly teenagers shouting verbal abuse or even threatening physical violence.
Hey Tony, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's what I would reiterate to this staff.
But yeah, so he said antisocial behaviour. There were many incidents of this, and they were trying to find meaningful solutions for young people in the community because they don't want to have to ban young people because these minority are kind of ruining it for the rest of the teenagers. But clearly, they had to go to kind of more extreme measures.
Can't they just ban the troublemakers?
Oh yeah, why couldn't they just ban that selectively? Just bar them in a pub.
Yeah,
Must be a whole load of them.
Yeah, or say you can only use takeaway. The drive-through.
Yeah, they said having tried various tactics, so they must have tried loads of things.
We need to put a request in to understand what they've tried here.
I guess they've probably gone, look, let's just nip it in the bud now. And maybe they will go, we're banning you for now. See if they get the message. They actually fix their behaviour. And maybe they might lift it. It doesn't say a ban forever. But the police are involved. They are aware of this. So Police in Scotland spokesperson said, we are acutely aware of the disruptive effect that antisocial behaviour has had on the community in Fort William. So this seems like it's rife. So local officers work closely with partners to address these issues and find meaningful solutions to direct our young people away from harmful behaviour. And I think one of the things with McDonald's is that because it's open somewhat 24 hours, and it's a place where you can just hang out things,
and it's casual. You don't have to be seated. Yeah. Maybe they need to change that, and actually you have to book a table. But I'm just thinking, Tony, I'm not being funny. Our app could help with this as well, because what will happen with our app is it will be listening to anything that anybody says. Yeah. So as soon as there's an expletive used by one of these young thugs in the McDonald's, once again we'll probably get we'll have McDonald's staff who are part of the app, and the bouncer or whatever will just come over and just remove them straight away.
That's on the premium package, right?
That's on the premium package.
I think this is great. I mean, I think we'll do well in Scotland in this town.
In Fort William. Yeah. The minority are ruining it. I think the police even said that, didn't they?
Yeah.
The minority are ruining it for the majority there.
So yeah, I mean, that is, again, if teenage life isn't hard enough, you're not going to actually get your fix of a McFlurry and a double cheeseburger.
The one thing I do like from McDonald's is the breakfast, the double egg and sausage McMuffin with a hash brown. It's the only
What a
thing.
way to start your morning.
So I want to say, there's nothing. If somebody said, "Oh, we're going to McDonald's for dinner," there's nothing on the menu that would excite me.
If you like
I know you
chips,
love that. I
don't know. It's just something about. It's something that I never
Not as
tried.
greasy as a fish and chips.
But it's the bun is so soft, and you get that tartar sauce with.
I do like soft buns.
That crisp fish. And that cheese.
I like crisp fish too. Brilliant. All right, so just one more from me. So this one's been kicking up a bit of a storm, Tony, and I hope I'm going to get the name right, which is that the Roman Emperor Elagabalus.
Oh,
I think I've got it right. Elagabalus or Elagabalus has been regendered as a woman many years later. So essentially,
that's
it's
interesting.
Interesting because she's talking about 2,000 years ago here. So North Hertfordshire Museum, which is actually in Hitchin, is now going to refer to the emperor with the female pronouns of she and her. So classical texts claim the emperor once said, "Call me not lord, for I am a lady." And a museum spokesperson has said, "It's only polite and respectful to be sensitive to identifying pronouns for people in the past." So that's what they said. And it has consulted LGBTQ plus charity Stonewall to ensure everything's as inclusive as possible, including displays. It has one coin of Elagabalus. But it's quite an interesting debate because he was quite a controversial emperor who ruled for 4 years from 218 AD to 222 AD. From the age of 14 to 18, became an increasingly controversial figure, developing a reputation for sexual promiscuity between the ages of 14 and 18. The emperor was married 5 times, 4 times to women, and once to Heracles, a former slave and chariot driver. In this final marriage, the emperor, it said, was bestowed in marriage and was termed wife, mistress, and queen. But, Tony, there's a bit more of a debate around this because the debate over the gender identity of Elagabalus is long-standing. So listen to this. Dr. Shushma Malik, a Cambridge University classics professor, told the BBC, "Historians we use to try and understand the life of Elagabalus are extremely hostile towards him and therefore cannot be taken at face value. There are many examples in Roman literature of times where effeminate language and words were used as a way of criticising or weakening a political figure." So what he's saying is it could be that the historical accounts of what Elagabalus said were actually used by people unfavourable towards him or her. And
Is he being sarky?
It's basically saying he may never have said this. Or she or he may never have said this.
Oh.
So I don't know. I just thought it's a debate. We've got to get some interaction on this one. Hit us up, Instagram, DM us, TikTok, whatever you want.
That's an interesting one, going back in history to change it.
It just question, the question is, how far do you go back in history to put what we believe is right now onto that part? So this is 2,000 years ago. In another 1,000 years, people's beliefs may have changed even more. We don't know. But yeah, I just thought it was a super interesting one in North Hertfordshire University. And I went with the number 18 because Elagabalus was assassinated at the age of 18.
That's so interesting because obviously that's a big topic about, we want people to really identify what they truly feel. And it seemed like a relatively new thing in the grand scheme of history. Going back in time, I know throughout history, there is a lot of ambiguity on certain kind of gender, kind of identity, and certain kind of civilizations, because everyone's kind of promiscuous, or some guys look quite metro or whatever. That they actually want to kind of change history a bit, and by just going like, actually, we're going like, this person identifies as a lady based on the single line, essentially. So we're drawing that.
Based on that quote. So obviously, there's definitely some sexual fluidity for Elagabalus, but I mean, they've said this is evidence that she, I should say, identified as a woman. So let's give her the appropriate pronouns. That's what they've said.
That's a lot.
But the question is,
text and stuff.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot, and the question is, do we have the proof? I don't know, Tony. But that's a hot debate. Do get in touch if you have any views on that one.
Interesting. That's our final number, 18. So if I go through what other numbers I will be buying for this Saturday's draw, it is 5, 6, 18, 21, 23, and 24. So there's a lot of numbers clumped in together. You've got 5, 6, 21, 23, 24. But that doesn't mean these are wrong.
No, it's a game of chance, Tony. And listen, I think these numbers have got a really great spread on them.
And I think, we'll kind of see what happens. But
we have to win this time because that app is just waiting to be launched, honestly.
I feel like if dating isn't hard enough already for the young boys and girls, I think this app may save them a lot of aggro, a lot of trouble, and actually make it more productive for them to find their ideal partner.
And why don't we switch it around a bit? I don't know. I've never used Hinge, so I don't know. Have you used that one?
Hinge, yeah.
Because what I'm thinking is, so on most of them, you just swipe on a whole load of people, and obviously that keeps people engaged.
Yeah.
Do we have to do that, or if they give, we've got so much information about the people on our app, we just present, or maybe there's something out there like this already. You just present who we believe is the right one.
Or like using AI and stuff.
Yeah, based on their interests, etc. And then we just say, we recommend you guys go for a £500 sushi meal.
I'm trying to think, does
Hinge
do have recommendations?
Oh, do they?
I think the people that do pop up are kind of what you're recommended based on your criteria.
Okay. Well, I think we'll get it even more super targeted.
They could recommend the various different kind of restaurants and drinks you can get. Yeah, that's what you say. Yeah, I think that's a game changer.
I think both. We recommend the person, and we say, you guys are really going to love this £500 sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
And we're going to add on the Ritz for the rest of the evening, because we get you a hotel room. It's booked for you. You have paid. It has been debited from your account. You don't have to go, but you have paid. And again, we'd have taken a 20% cut on that one as well.
The hotel room.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we can even have a fast track option of if you're, some people want to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
So you can have I guess, if you're the female or even male, you can add your parents' details on there. So the dad, say for the female, and then the guy, he goes, I've had 2 dates. I want to get her father's blessing, because I want to propose. Now you've got the details to actually message him or call him.
Through the app.
And
we'll only charge probably £5 per text.
Yeah.
Or if you do a call, it's going to be better. So £10 per minute on the call.
Or whatever. It's premium. It's premium. You can contact the father straight away and go, look, I want to propose in the next date.
And then we arrange the wedding.
You can connect to wedding
We'll connect the wedding stuff and the fertility doctor. So with kids down the line, to just
you can connect to buy baby gear and stuff in the future.
Nappy subscription.
Oh my! Life insurance. Honeymoon, easy holidays, honeymoons and stuff like
Funeral planning. We'll be with you every step of the life.
We could connect to kind of college funds for the kids.
Yeah.
Retirement.
Yeah, and you can invest with us.
Oh, this is going to solve everyone's problem.
Yeah. This is the everything app. I feel like I've heard that before somewhere, but this is the real everything app.
Okay, so I would say, obviously, if you want to see this come to life, I think first things first, subscribe, share,
Yeah. Donate. Sorry, invest, I mean.
Invest. And then, keep us emailing any kind of your dating challenges. Anything else you want us to cover going forward. I guess we can end it there, Chris.
Absolutely. And let's just hope we win it next week.
And remember, stay safe in the dating scene. Don't be too trusting. Be generous.
Meet in public places.
Equal.
Meet in public places.
And I always say, why shouldn't anyone get a thermos? I mean, it's winter. Get a thermos.
It's cold out there, get a thermos. But thank you very much. And I guess ta-ta for now.
And we'll see you next week
on Win Me the Lottery.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.